Hey, thanks for tuning in. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you've been on this channel already, or if you're subscribed, hey, thanks for coming back. Oh my God, what? And be sure to like if you like it. And if you don't like it, go ahead and that up. Just be like, thumbs down, I hate it. And that's okay, because you have your right to express how you feel. And leave a comment if you'd like, and I will respond. But I just wanted to check in, see how everybody's doing, share some thoughts I had. I started working part-time, and it happens to be at a grocery store, so thoughts have just been running through my mind like crazy all day. Luckily, I work at the service desk, so I don't have to deal with too many body parts or secretions, but occasionally I do. And I also cashier from time to time, so I do have to touch body parts, chopped up, hacked, mutilated body parts, and rib cages, and mammary secretion, and chicken periods. I have to deal with all that. And but it's been interesting now that I no longer partake and view that as the norm. It's been interesting seeing how the people in the community just nonchalantly buy these products, most of the time because they don't know what's behind them, or they do but they just view it as a necessity. A lot of people think we need to eat animals and their secretions.
I was one of them. But I realized I'm not a baby cow, and I realized I'm not an apex predator. I'm not even an omnivore. I am literally a herbivore. Yeah. No. These killer claws? No. These incisors? No. I also see color, so I know how to judge the ripeness of a fruit or vegetable by its color, and I don't get hungry when I see roadkill, and I don't get hungry when I see a small little rabbit hopping by, or I see a squirrel, or a bird flying overhead. I don't feel like, I wonder if there's a way I could hunt that and eat that with my bare hands and just eat every bit of it. And I can't crush their bones and their body parts raw with my teeth. So I'm just not an omnivore or a carnivore. I'm not a lion.
Also, something else that makes us herbivores biologically is our intestines. That's right, they're super long. I think they're like 4 times the length of our torso, and that's so that we can keep the vegetation, seeds, all sorts of plants in our system, so we can absorb all the nutrients we need that are all from plants. Everything essential comes from plants, so we can absorb that into our system and be healthy. Unlike a predator or an omnivore that has a much shorter intestinal tract.
Because they need to get the meat out of their system, because it decomposes. Also, they need a shorter tract so that they don't absorb so much cholesterol out of the meat.
So I know that I'm an herbivore because biologically, my intestines, my instincts, my fingers, everything about me tells me, you know what, I'm an herbivore. So, anywho, as I'm just watching, adults buying, cow breast milk nonchalantly, I realize
we got a lot of work to do.
So if you are vegan and you're watching this channel, don't forget, we need to be doing our part and be speaking up. We don't have to, activism happens in all ways. You don't have to be standing with the TV screen showing footage, or you don't have to, do a seminar. You can literally just have small little conversations, plant little seeds, just share little things that mean something to you. And as long as you're being genuine and, you're trying your best, then that's activism right there, So don't feel bad if you're not, chained to the front of a slaughterhouse, or, bearing witness to the slaughterhouse trucks and giving water to the pigs, and, getting footage from inside slaughterhouses. Don't feel bad if you're not doing that exact type of activism. Do what you can. We can't all be doing that, depending on where we are or what our life situation is at that moment. So eventually we can get around to doing all the kinds of activism we want to, but in the meantime, do what you can. It's shocking, just seeing like what people are buying, and it's just like, when I see, like, for example, the rack of ribs, the pork ribs, you know, I know what that is. I know that that's a baby pig, like a 6-month-old pig that was bred in a gestation crate with its mother in terrible conditions, stolen from its mother, thrown into a big bin of other piglets, taken in to the nursery where they're given, you know, formula and other supplement foods, where then they're taken to the fattening sheds where they're fattened up and then shoved onto a slaughterhouse truck. Like, that's what I see. And I see the mother laying in this, you know, farrowing crate where they're kept confined, where they can't turn around. They can either lay on one side or the other. And then eventually, you know, she's slaughtered when she can no longer become pregnant and, you know, birth enough piglets to make into pork products. Also, all baby animals are selectively bred and fattened up to be as large as adults. So that's what I see. And I literally see the ribs. That's a rib cage. And I have a rib cage. You know, like, these animals that we're eating and the secretions of these animals that we're eating are very much like us. You know, they have a desire to live. They care for their young. They are intelligent. They are sentient. They have ears. They have a nose. They have a mouth. They have eyes. They have skin. They have a heart. They have lungs. They have a bladder. They have a colon. They have a stomach. Some of them have, cows have more than one stomach. You know, they have arms and legs. They have eyelashes. They have tongues. They make sounds as we do. They can be happy like us. They can be sad like us. They can be angry like us. They can be scared like us. And there's just too much in common for me to, you know, ignore that fact and to not realize that this is really wrong. And that it's not just, oh, I'm making a personal choice, but you do what you want to do. You know, that's not okay. We wouldn't say that for any other type of injustice or oppression or mass murder. We wouldn't say that about the Holocaust of the Jewish people. We wouldn't say, oh, it's your personal choice to molest that kid. Do what you want to do, but I don't do that. We wouldn't say that it's a personal choice to be racist. We would say that's wrong and you need to stop, or that person is terrible. But all of a sudden, when it comes to eating animals, it's, hey, you know, lighten up a little bit. And it's no wonder, because they're all around us. The
body parts and secretions are marketed to us in the fast food industry and in the grocery stores. You know, Targets and Walmarts have delis with animal products and sell animal body parts and secretions. You know, steakhouses, all of this. It's just everywhere.
We're dealing with multi-trillion-dollar industries here that do not want to be exposed and do not lose their clients because they're customers, because they've got a pretty nice setup here.
They can mass breed and exploit trillions of animals every year.
Trillions of animals every year, and those animals don't get to say anything about it.
They get to treat them however they want to treat them, what is most cost efficient, what puts out the most amount of their flesh and secretions, whatever works best to make the dollar bill. They push upon these animals, just as the slave owners did in slavery. A lot of people get thrown off when I bring that up. But you know what? The slaves were stolen, they were raped, they were sold, they were murdered, they were put in chains, they were held down. The way they were whipped and beaten, the way they were transported in the ships, the way they were shackled up, just the same as the way the animals were shackled up or packed onto slaughterhouse trucks and sent somewhere. The same way that slaves were raped or their babies were stolen and sold is the same way that human beings artificially inseminate animals, steal their babies, and sell them. It was for profit. It was an exploitation of beings that could not defend themselves, that were put in a position where they could not defend themselves. And it took the support and the movement of the small minority of people that were against it to change this. Same as veganism. There's only 75 million vegans in the world, and we are pushing for this this animal liberation now. And it doesn't have to be everybody to make change in history. And we see that with racism and segregation, or slavery and segregation, when we're fighting racism still. So it's the same thing. A lot of people think I'm insulting slaves by comparing them to the conditions that the animals were in. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think that human beings are better than animals at all. I think that we're all sentient beings and we all deserve life.
Now, can I relate to human beings a lot easier than I can to animals? Sure, absolutely. I'm the same species.
Homo sapien, so I can relate more. But that doesn't mean that everything else is less, because that's how the slave owners and the racist people in the past looked at African Americans. They said, oh, they don't feel pain like we do. Oh, they're stupid. They don't know anything. Well, they were kept in conditions where if they were learning to read and write, it was punishable by death or, a bad beating. They were put in conditions where they were not allowed to exhibit their natural behavior and desires and passions and abilities. They were oppressed just the same as the animals. Born into oppression, they know nothing different. They're dominated and kept from birth, so they know no different. And it's just the same. It's just the same. It's just one species and another species, but the same treatment. Violence, greed, ignorance, all for profit, for convenience, to meet the needs of someone else because it was convenient for them. So it's just the same, okay? We have to wake up and realize that these are trillion-dollar businesses, and their business is exploitation, domination, and money, and that's it. The only thing they want is our money, is that money out of our pocket. And so they want to put whatever labels are necessary to mislead us. They want to say whatever is necessary in their funded studies, saying that meat and dairy are healthy things to eat. They're going to tell us whatever they got to tell us, because they don't want to change anything, because it just works for them. It's just easy peasy. You know what I mean? They don't want to give that up. Same as the slave owners. They didn't want to give it up. What? Transition my plantation into something else? I've got all of these slaves here working for me. This is working for me. I've got an inheritance to give to my children with this. No way. And you got to fight for the weak and stand up for the oppressed. And that's what makes us great. That's what makes humans so great, is we have that ability to be virtuous and to be good, to be ethical, to be moral, and try and be the best we can. We can't be perfect, but we definitely don't have to eat animal bodies and their secretions. And that's a great place to start in changing humanity, because we can make the world a better place. Majorly. All right? Much love. Go vegan. What? You can do it. You know you want to. Maybe you don't. What? Why? But you know what? I didn't do it overnight. It took me 3 years. And then I did it overnight on July 18th, 2019. Watched Land of Hope and Glory on YouTube. And I was like, that's it. That's it. Never again in my life will I ever. And that's what it is. When you go vegan, you never go back. But vegan is a philosophy. It is a lifestyle. And it's something that you don't stop, because it's something you do, and that's that. And it's good. It's so good. I know it feels scary at first. It sounds scary. You think, how am I going to do this? I want to have ice cream. But when you really know the reality of what dairy is, you don't miss it. you don't miss it. I see non-vegan ice cream, or I see people at an ice cream shop, and I remember, oh, I used to really like that. But you know what? I know that a cow had an arm put up her anus and her cervix clutched, and a needle of bull semen put into her vagina, and her baby stolen from her, and she was pumped by a machine that sucked the pus and the blood out of her, and she was uncomfortable and miserable, and then she went to a slaughterhouse because she couldn't make milk anymore. And you know what? That ice cream cone, that little ice cream cone, or that piece of cheese, it just doesn't mean more to me than the well-being and the justice for a innocent being. Go vegan.